Yo guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video. Back on the video grind, and I've been testing the Google Pixel 6a. I took this phone on a trip over to France, and funnily enough, it's actually the same location, just obviously a totally different season, that I shot and reviewed the Pixel 6 with, and obviously that camera thoroughly impressed me, so I've been super interested to see how the Pixel 6a performs, and I was exceptionally pleased and pleasantly surprised with the quality of the Pixel 6a camera, and of course we'll be discussing that in full detail in this video. Let's talk first about the lenses on the camera. This is the tried and tested camera system from actually the same camera system that Google's been using since the Pixel 2. This is a 12.1 megapixel sensor, but don't let the fact that it's old fool you. This is an extremely capable camera system, and what Google is doing with the improvements to the processing performance and capabilities in the Pixel 6a, and also of course software improvements, it is a dramatic step up in terms of photography capabilities for the affordable line of Google Pixel systems. In fact, I was just like overwhelmingly happy with the performance of the rear facing camera. The fact that there was 12.1 megapixel compared to the 50 megapixel sensor on the original Pixel 6 basically doesn't sort of take away from the quality of the shots taken on this phone. And from a variety of lighting situations, color situations, I was extremely happy, as you can tell, with the quality of these photographs that I'm showing you. These could easily be taken on the Google Pixel 6, not just the Pixel 6a. You guys know me, I love to take these photos into Adobe Lightroom. Even when just shooting JPEG and editing these JPEG files, I was really impressed with the amount of sort of latitude that you get. Obviously it's JPEG, you're going to be restricted, but you can clearly see that I was able to change the look and feel out of these shots and get this relatively close to looking like it was shot on almost like a little point and shoot Fuji or something like that. This is actually a new preset pack I've just released. I'm calling this Smartphones on Film. It is a selection of 5 almost like film emulation presets, and what they're doing is they're basically taking smartphone characteristics and just softening those. I'm adding some grain, making them look a little bit filmic, a little bit sort of moody, and mostly just kind of a muted, nice vibe. Hopefully you agree that these edits are nice. Obviously they're not going to work on every single photo, but there is one preset which I am particularly sort of happy with, or happy with the concept. It's called Old Reliable, and as you can see from here, if something to do with colors or something like that is just not working, what this does is it just softens the image and basically just makes this look, in my opinion, a whole lot nicer than the original sort of colors coming straight out of the camera. Really the same story here on the ultra wide. This is a really strong performer of a camera. It's a 0.6 zoom or field of view, so it's not going to be as wide as something like the iPhone 13. Really the iPhone's gold standard when it comes to that. Like the ultra wide feels just as good, if not better, than the sort of standard rear facing camera. And really the same story there is on the Pixel 6a. Like the ultra wide feels just as good as the main rear facing lens. There is also a 2x digital zoom that in my opinion doesn't seem to be doing very much. Obviously it is digital. You could probably achieve very similar results just by cropping in on the photo. Google is probably doing a few sort of like software type things to just improve this ever so slightly. Having a look at some of the shots that I did shoot in the 2x digital zoom, it did sort of seemingly look like it was a little bit better than if I just like cropped in. So that's obviously a good positive to have. Even though it doesn't have a zoom lens on it, you can sort of rely on that a little bit. One of the main complaints I had about that Google Pixel 6 was with the dynamic range. Obviously Google is doing a lot of clever software things to combine highlight images with shadow images to create an HDR image and really sort of maximize the capabilities of the phone sensor. In my opinion, sometimes this does look a little fake, and the Google Pixel 6 was definitely one of the sort of worst culprits when it came to that. I do think the images come out looking a little bit fake, a little bit artificial, and the story is still true on the Google Pixel 6a. You do have a slider control, which allows you to control the sort of shadow detail. If you boost this right up, obviously your images end up just kind of looking a bit fake. They're going to look straight out of camera. If you're happy with that look, you can stick with that, but then in my opinion, again, it's just something nice to sort of soften this look a little bit, and the nice thing is you can do that in Lightroom with these photographs. I was a bit disappointed overall with the shutter lag performance. Similar experience, to be honest, that I had on the Google Pixel 6, so I'm not sure whether it's the processor that they're using in these phones, but as you can clearly see, after a few photos you do have a bit of lag, and it just sort of like stutters from there. I want to keep this a photo-centric review, but if video is important to you, on the left we have iPhone 13 wide, then the iPhone 13 main camera, Pixel 6a ultra wide, then Pixel 6a wide. This two side-by-side comparison, pretty self-explanatory. We have the 6a ultra wide on the left and then the 6a wide. Definitely decent video performance on this camera. Low light performance is obviously a main area of focus for smartphone cameras these days, and the Google Pixel 6 does have a night mode functionality, which is really, really good. It shouldn't really come as a surprise that obviously the best performance comes when there's something in the frame that is illuminated. This shot here, as you can see, looks really, really good, whereas this one here, there was basically zero available light. So on the one hand, it's very impressive that you can actually capture something. It's basically shooting a long exposure for you just by holding the phone stable, but at the same time, obviously it's not a fantastic shot. So a bit of light, bit of ambient light, something in the frame that the phone can latch onto, definitely a good thing. So the low light performance obviously really impressed me, and speaking of another thing which really, really impressed me is the battery life. I shot with this phone a lot on my trip to France, as discussed at the sort of start of the video. I only charged this phone once. Small caveat is that when I'm doing these camera tests, I don't use the phone as my daily phone, but cameras in general are very, very thirsty for smartphone battery life performance. So, you know, pretty exceptional that I got a good 5-6 hours of shooting on a charge. I was not expecting to be as impressed as I was with the battery life on the Pixel 6a. To wrap up, I actually think the Pixel 6a is probably one of the best smartphone camera performances in this price range. It is an extremely affordable phone, as you guys know if you're watching this video, and it's an extremely impressive phone in terms of camera performance. The fact that I can get shots that come out of the phone looking like this, with a small edit they look like this and this, like really, really gorgeous shots coming out of this phone. If you're looking at buying the Pixel 6a and are worried about the camera, I don't think you need to be disappointed.